Welcome to the Why Not Today podcast, where we celebrate courage, determination, and the power of saying, Why not today? I'm your host, Leslie Kane, and in each episode, we dive into inspiring stories of individuals who have taken bold steps, faced their fears, and embraced the possibility of today. From entrepreneurs to artists, dreamers to doers, we explore the moments when they said, Enough waiting, why not today? Join me as we uncover the heartwarming, the audacious, and the transformative. Whether it's a lifelong passion, overcoming obstacles, or simply choosing joy, our guests share their journeys and inspire us all. I started this podcast to honor my father, Patrick Kane, who often said, Why not today? And remember, you're just one decision away from changing your life. And my guest today is Denise Gavilan. Did I pronounce that right?
Gavilan, yeah.
Gavilan. And she started a nonprofit called Kids Give Back. And I met Denise at a networking event and we had lunch or coffee one day. And it was a while ago.
It
And from
was.
there,
It
you
was.
introduced me to so many different people that have been on the podcast and just your energy. And we're like, we need to do this more often and get together. And we
Yeah.
haven't,
Yep.
but we
We
just got
will.
something on the
We will.
calendar for next month.
Yes, we
But
will.
I'm really paying attention to the people that you surround yourself that your energy matches, and you are definitely one of those people.
Oh,
So I'm
thank
excited
you.
to have you here to share about your nonprofit, what you're doing, and as we just were chatting beforehand, you told me um, about a TED Talk you want to do, and I'm going to challenge you. Why not today? But I want to hear more about that. So give us a quick bio of Denise and a fun fact.
Sure. So Denise Gavilan, Executive Director of Kids Give Back. That's the boring stuff. Born and raised in Buffalo, New York. Go
Which
Bills. Gotta
which I
say
love
it.
that connection because it's
Gotta
so
say it.
funny.
We have the
I,
yeah, we
I,
have the
I was
Buffalo connection.
I was born in Buffalo. I was with a friend of my brother's the other day, and he's like, "I'm from Buffalo." I'm like, "Of course you are," because everybody I know is from Buffalo.
Everybody.
I was only there for 2 years, so I don't,
Yes.
but I
So
still
I
claim it.
spent I spent the first 25 years of my life in Buffalo and still have a lot of friends and family there. So and we will always be Bills fans no matter what happens, no matter how
Mhm,
many refs don't give us the good calls.
mhm. Yeah.
But anyway, yes. So I'm the mom of two amazing kids. One's in college and one will be going to college next year.
Oh
Live in
wow.
Annandale. I know, it makes me feel old.
Mhm.
But our family has made it a mission to go to a lot of national parks, and we have taken our kids to 15 national parks. So I like to say we've left our footprints all over the country, but there's just so many more to explore. So
Yeah.
we're working on our
Do you have a
list.
favorite?
Oh gosh, well, we really were just talking about wanting to get back to Grand Tetons National Park. We just did
Okay.
not spend enough time there. It's in Jackson
Hey,
Hole, Wyoming,
okay. Yeah, I've heard of
and
it. So I've
it's
never been a
breathtaking.
national park kind of girl, and I'm not like a hiker or whatever. I mean, of course, I've been to some, but what do you do? What's
Well, what we technically do with our trips is we drop ourselves in, like, let's say, the middle of Denver. Fly to Denver, and we take a map and we just decide to drive around, and we
okay?
hit parks all over the place. We'll hit like new national monuments. We'll pop into little towns. Like, it's just a big exploration. We've been doing this with our kids since they were little.
I love
And hopefully they still want to continue now that they're grown up.
Yeah.
But it's just an adventure. Like, it's kind of planned, but it's not always planned. Like, there'll be a night where we're like, we don't know which hotel we're staying in, but let's pull into this little town that's really cute and find a hotel room. So we
That's
make it
awesome.
an adventure. And when we get to the
Love that.
parks, we hike, but we are not hiking to the top summits. We're not,
Right.
rock climbing, but we're doing exploration to see what nature's beauty is, because
That's awesome.
it just blows me away here living on the East Coast, and you like just go to the Southwest and you're like, it's a whole different world.
Oh yeah.
There are parts of it that it's just breathtaking.
Mhm.
So we've
People come
been
here and say
all
the
over.
same thing.
They do. But when you see what nature has made there, so we do a lot of that. So that's our big
That's
thing. We're
really
trying to
cool.
figure out where we're going next.
Yay.
So yeah.
Well, what does courage mean to you, Denise?
I've given a lot of thought about that question, and I feel like, some people think, oh, you're going to skydive, so you're courageous, or, you're going to learn to fly an airplane and you're courageous. But I really think courage has many levels. I mean, taking a leap of faith to say, I'm going to get married. I've met this person, I've known that person 24 months, and I think it's courageous to say, I want to get married to that person who you've only known a teeny little part of your life. Having
Mhm.
children takes courage.
Right.
especially in this day and age. Like you don't, the things that the kids are exposed to compared to what I was as a kid, it takes courage to raise children and to raise them right.
Right.
So I just feel like courage, there's levels of it. There's people who are risk takers, and I've always been, from a business perspective, more of a risk taker. And that takes courage.
Right.
So
Love it. Yeah. And sometimes I tell people with the why not today message and the courage, sometimes it's getting out of bed is your why not today moment. That
it
sometimes,
can be, right.
and we were just talking about something that went on here locally last week. And, it was sad and depressing. And, it's some days it's just getting out of bed. And, one of my, or a friend of mine, her daughter is in college, but really dealing with a lot of depression and
Mm,
anxiety. And so she has gotten some why not today swag for her
yes.
to give her to encourage her to literally get out of bed some days.
It is, and I think that as a society, we are very bad at recognizing other people's needs. We can be
Yeah.
very myopic. Oh,
Mhm.
today I need this, I need
Right.
that, I need
Instead
this.
of paying attention.
Instead of paying attention to what's going on around you and the basic skills of understanding how to be empathetic, how to
Mhm.
understand to be sympathetic, how to understand to just be a good listener and put down the
Exactly.
phone.
Yeah. Somebody
And
I
it's hard.
saw,
It's hard.
it is. Somebody I saw on Facebook the other day, she put for Lent, what she's done in the past, which I love, is to give a sincere compliment to a stranger every day.
I love that.
Isn't that cool? And she goes, it made a
I
difference for their life. And she goes, it made a difference for my life.
Well, just it's funny because just a couple of days ago, I was dropping off a donation to Food for Others, which is not far from my house, and there was a gentleman working in the parking lot. He was a volunteer cleaning up the parking lot, and he just wanted to talk to me for a few minutes. He was like, "That donation you just dropped off, those potato chips, that could be somebody's treat for the day that those kids never get." And he
Mhm.
he kept me there a good 7 to 8 minutes, and I was like, "I'm just gonna listen." Yes, I have somewhere to go.
And I love
Yes,
that,
I
it
dropped,
was 7 to 8 minutes you're going, but you did
and I
take.
wasn't, because he was so excited that I was there, and he was literally sweeping the parking lot, and he was just like, "You don't understand what you just brought means to people." And I just sat there and listened, and I was like, "You are absolutely correct." So taking that moment, acknowledging his feelings because he wanted to share,
Right.
just acknowledging that he was there, even though he was just, doing a little random job in the parking lot.
Yeah,
People need to do that more often.
we
We're
do.
not always
Absolutely.
needing to rush. So
And I think living in the area we live in, we get wrapped up into that overwhelm and nonstop and filling our
just
calendar and yeah,
filling our calendars, it's too much. Some days I like to just sit downstairs and do a puzzle
yeah,
just to
we
like
need to do that.
decompress.
Exactly. So, well, let's
Anyway,
talk about you and what you've been doing. So I know you've got a marketing business and
I
that's your
do.
background.
I
But
do.
and I don't know if you want to talk about that a little bit, but definitely the nonprofit. And I always try to weave into our discussion, and I don't know if you want to start with this or go within what you share, is your why not today moments. Like that
Sure.
moment when you remember where you were, what you're doing, almost where, what you're wearing or how you were feeling, that you made
How you
that
were
pivotal
feeling.
decision
Yeah.
that
Yes.
totally took your life in a different direction. So,
That's a really important question, obviously. So there are two pivotal moments. First of all, yes, I'm a marketing and communications consultant. I started a marketing firm 17 years ago when my second child was born. So my primary responsibility is to work on marketing campaigns for associations. That is my background professionally, but where my why not today moment for that decision was, I had now two young children. I was working a job I loved. I will tell you, I loved that job. It was in DC. We were running back and forth to daycare. Hopefully, we were getting there on time. I was seeing my kids for 2 hours a night. It wasn't working. That work-life balance was not working. And I
yeah,
had this moment to say to my husband, what if we give it a year? What if I quit this job? That it was a good paying job, people I loved, and start a business. And he was like, okay, let's do it. Let's give it a year. And if we can't afford to do it after a year and you don't have the well-established clientele, you find a job. That was my moment though, where it was like, why not today? I was 40 years old. I had two young children and I didn't want to miss being with them. But I also did not want to give up the career that I loved.
Right. And that's really, my heart and soul of Why Not Today, that it's a movement to encourage people to live their life, be brave,
Yes,
and pursue their dreams. And I love that you're like, okay, I'm going to give it a try and decide ahead of time that okay, it might not work. And that's
it might not,
okay.
but, and it was really difficult. I'm a highly social person, as you might know. You've met me. Going home and having a 4-month-old baby in a little baby chair while I'm trying to build a website and build a LinkedIn profile and tell people I'm out there for hire, that was difficult. But once I got that first client and the second client, and baby, you're going to daycare now. I'll pick you up at 3:30
Right.
and we can have plenty of time, but that was the moment for that. So fast forward to now, and I will say these are markers in my life. When I turned 50, I decided it was time for me to
Is it,
start.
I was
Go
going to say,
ahead.
isn't it amazing those zero birthdays? We really
I
reflect
do. I
what
bring,
we're going to
that's
do.
what I'm doing.
Yep.
So at 50, I decided I wanted to join a board of directors or just get more involved with a nonprofit. So I did join a board. But at the same time, I was running a program at my child's elementary school called the Kids Care Club. And every month, the kids would do volunteer service projects, and I would wrangle these kids after school. We would do gifts for the teachers, snack packs, anything that. And as my kids aged out of that school, I was like, I don't want to give this up. These children want to volunteer. They want to be engaged in their community and they need to. So my why not today moment then was my children are now out of elementary school. I want to continue inspiring children to volunteer. And I started talking to friends and family and nonprofit leaders and saying, what do you think about a nonprofit designed to give children volunteer opportunities? We would have the children be elementary school age, ages 6 through 12. And everybody gave me the absolutely, this doesn't exist. Absolutely, let's do it. So that is when I say why not today, why not? I mean, what did I have to
Exactly.
lose?
Yeah. Try and what a difference.
What did I have to lose?
I don't know if you followed anything with the Surgeon General that just left office. I've listened to a couple podcasts. His name is Vivek, I think.
Okay,
Listened to a couple of his podcasts or him being on people's podcasts. And he wrote a book and he talked about loneliness. And he said that was really what his mission was. He was in 2 terms with 2 different presidents, the last one being
okay,
Biden,
okay,
and really was like paying attention to people being lonely. And he said, what we need to do to help. And he's Surgeon General on our health, but he was like, it's really
right.
mental health. And you've got to have a purpose. You need relationships. You need to serve. And so we had a great conversation on a podcast with Simon Sinek the other day about
Mhm.
serving and what a difference it makes. That, and, and it was recent, but obviously wherever they are, they're not like Northern Virginia. Northern Virginia kids have to have so many service hours to graduate. And that
Right,
was saying they should.
right,
They do now. Here,
right.
but probably not all over the country from their conversation because it was a recent recording. But giving back and serving. I still remember my father was very big into giving back and doing a lot. And I remember, right after college, she's like, "You guys need to get involved," and we're like, "Yeah, we're going out." Like,
I'm
um,
sorry. I'm going shopping.
but
Yeah, yeah,
we
exactly.
he was modeling it and seeing it, and now
Right,
it's just natural that you don't even know you're doing it because that's just who
right.
you be. But I think being able to teach kids young how to do that, and I think the kids are much more involved than we were. They're more aware of things.
They are.
So tell
And
me, what do you do with the volunteer? So obviously, you start a nonprofit.
yes,
Um,
so yes, started it in 2019.
okay,
We're celebrating our 7th year. Actually, we're having a big party in March to do that. But
okay.
yes, um, the kids, it is designed for ages 6 through 12. And to me, the bonus though of this whole program is that we engage the 13 through 16-year-olds as camp and staff leaders. So
So you do
it
a
has
camp.
been, we do summer camps.
Okay.
We do kids volunteer days when Fairfax County schools are closed.
Well, that's a
We
great
do
idea.
family events. We have 2 really big family events every year where any age parent, I mean, any age child can come with their parent and do service work. We do some private events like birthday parties. People will call us and be like, we don't want gifts. We want the kids to do a service project.
That's
If
a great
we
idea.
Yeah, and we do a lot of those birthday parties. We do Girl Scout events.
Yeah,
You
I
know, like
actually had one of my customers, her daughter started using a Mary Kay customer, started using Mary Kay very young, and then she worked for me. But her birthday was, she would ask for donations for a shelter house.
I love that.
And
I
so
love
I
that.
remember one
Yeah.
time I went and gave, we did a pampering thing for the girls, and then the mom, because I was on the board of shelter house at the time, had me share it with
Mhm.
all.
Yeah, I love that. And we do, like, we just did a birthday party I did earlier last year. And when we do birthday parties, we often do have the kids make birthday kits. And the kit includes like a cake pan, a box of cake mix, it's like a party in a box, right? It's
Right.
all ready to go. And we drop them off to Rest and Strong, who on Sundays gives out food at 2 o'clock at the YMCA.
Well, it's
And
great.
they
They have a
are,
new facility too.
oh, do they? Because the
They
last
just
time we went to the YMCA to drop them off,
they
but yeah.
just opened in the last week or so.
Oh, good for them. So
Yeah.
they're the recipients of those kind of gifts.
Oh, I
And
love it.
we did holiday cookie kits for them last year. We did, it was a cake mix and cutouts and sprinkles and all that. So what we're trying to do with Kids Give Back is just show kids as young as 6 years old that they can be change makers in this community. We are trying to inspire them to want to be lifelong volunteers, not have to volunteers, but show them, like, over the course of our summer camps, we have 5 weeks of camp. And each week they probably do 6 to 8 service projects.
That's
And it
awesome.
could be birthday kits, it could be making meals for the homeless, it could be blankets for animal shelters. It's our job is to introduce them to all kinds of needs in the community. And then hopefully they walk away with one and go, oh, I want to make more of those blankets for the shelters. How do I do that?
That's
So they
awesome.
get inspired. So yeah.
Well, and another thing that there's somebody I want to introduce you to that I just met with yesterday.
Okay.
Um, that her son at 12 was bullied so bad that had tried to commit suicide many times. Um, and I know. And so she ended up pulling him out of school, homeschooling him, and he wrote a book about his experience. Anonymous, he wrote a second book under his
Yeah,
name, but the mom ended up starting a business around speaking and writing books and doing courses to help parents.
I love that.
And and she has a business to teach, it's Kids Business Academy, teaching kids how to start businesses.
Yeah, I think I
Um,
know who you're talking about.
yeah, and so
Yeah,
it gives these kids, she's like, these kids are having depression and anxiety and issues.
yep.
Sitting there at a counselor's office and just talking about it over and it's not helping. They need to have a purpose. They need to
I
have
want to do
something.
something.
And we were
Yes,
talking about yesterday, and I know that if I'm having a bad day, I'm going to start writing some notes to somebody. I'm going to go volunteer. And I've trained people,
yes,
with Mary Kay, you need to build clientele, go volunteer. That's
yes.
what people are. They're not in your house.
They're not. And I will tell you, I wish it's that old phrase, I wish I had a dollar for every time someone said this to me, but every time I meet a new parent, they come up and they go, oh, I've been looking for a program like this because it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
This program does not exist unless your child is active in Girl Scouts, your church is active or something. You can't find ongoing opportunities for young children to volunteer. You
Well,
can't,
and finding opportunities for adults too.
right.
I received a award through Reston years
Oh yeah, I
ago.
remember that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
the best of Reston. And
Yeah.
afterwards, everybody asked me, how do I get involved? How do I help? And
I know.
so I've had this discussion with 3 people in the last couple days. I'm like, all right, we need to have like a one place, a one sheet, a website that says these are all the ways you can give back. Like if you've got what do they say, treasure time or
Time, talent, treasures, and we put the
yeah. So
teamwork
like
in. Yeah.
if you got some cash and that's all you got, I've got a friend, she's a super busy mom. She's, I don't know, I think she might be a lawyer or a CPA. I don't know. She's got a big job, single mom,
Yeah.
and her kids were in high school. She didn't have time to do anything else,
Right.
but she
Right.
had cash, where
And
somebody
that
else
helps.
might not
Yes.
have cash, but they want to get involved. And I'm more like boots on the ground. Like, although I've
Yes.
on a board, I've been on boards. It's like I want to be involved. Like when I was at a
Yeah.
shelter house, put me in a shelter and doing pampering for the women. Don't make me sit around a board table and discuss
Right. Right.
policy.
Right. Well, and that's our board. Speaking of boards of directors, we just brought two more people onto our board, which is amazing. But we are an active board. We do not sit around. This is not a governing board. This is a
Yeah,
hands-on, take
that's awesome.
action, get it done board. And when they come to me and they say, hey, we want to bring a bingo night. They just, two of my board members ran a bingo night. We'd never done bingo night. It was sold out. It was sold
That's
out, but
awesome.
they did it. They got the auction items and but and this is the thing that blows me away a lot is the community that I have built that I didn't even know existed. I mean, there
Yeah,
are
you started
people
to talk about that. Let's
I
talk about that.
just did not know. I was in my bubble of being a marketing consultant, which is fine. It pays the bills and my kids are going to college and they're going to have shoes, but I didn't know until I started Kids Give Back what I was missing in terms of being connected to this community.
Yeah.
I didn't. And I've joined boards of director, I'm on I belong to the Vienna Chamber, the Greater Maryfield Chamber, the Central Fairfax Chamber, all of those places where I'm meeting people like you, Leslie, like other women who are empowering other women. And I didn't know this was here.
Yeah.
And I'm so
Well,
glad I found it. Like, I'm
yeah.
so glad.
And I've been blessed because I've had that community with Mary Kay.
Yeah.
When I started the podcast and then I started the Why Not Today business and being around many more entrepreneurial women starting businesses and trying to help support women. I mean, I was with somebody the other day in tears that she started a franchise. She goes, nobody ever told me how lonely it was. And so
Oh,
it can
yeah,
be
that's
lonely,
very
but you
fair.
need
Yeah,
to meet the people. Like you and I are extroverts and we love being out with people, but there are other
right.
people. It's terrifying.
It
And
is. It
so,
is.
and I'm actually, I think, going to teach the course on how to get out there and network and start by volunteering,
I
and
mean, that is
build
one of the
those
best things.
connections
Yep.
and get that
Yeah.
community. So
Yeah.
you're obviously in Northern Virginia. Are you in any other areas of the country or have you branched
No,
out?
not. I would love to be, but no. The answer is no. Our camps are only in Fairfax, Oakton, and Great Falls right
Okay.
now.
And
But
so your camps you do every summer.
that's
Um,
our signature product.
okay.
Honestly, our signature offering. Yeah.
And if somebody's listening, watching, and they're like, I want to get my kids involved, or do you need adults as volunteers too?
Yes, we would love adult volunteers in particular for some of our event committees because we have a lot of events.
Okay.
So people are looking to get involved. We're happy to bring them on. We need teens always to staff our events. Like I'm doing a camp fair tomorrow, and I'm not bringing anyone tomorrow because it's a small event, but we put teens at all of our booths. We put them as camp counselors. We keep them busy. They could be fundraisers for us. Some of them do some social media posts for us. So we're looking for teens. We're looking for women and men who would like to, we have boards positions available. If you want to help grow a small nonprofit and really make an impact on people's lives, we have so many opportunities at Kids Give Back because we've only been around 7 years.
Right.
When I started this organization, people said, if you make it to the 5 year mark, you're onto something. This is what some advice somebody gave me. I'm like, it was year one. I'm like, well, if I make it to 5 months, I'll be happy. But, here we are, all these years later. So go to the Kids Give Back website. It's kidsgiveback.org. You will see what we have going on.
Okay.
It's a big slate. It's a big
And I know
slate.
your summer camp's very popular. I
They
think
are.
you mentioned it sells out quickly.
They do sell out. We take 24 children per camp per week. Some of
And
them
when
are,
did sign
what's
up
that?
start? Did sign up start yet? Could
Oh
people?
yeah, registration open in January. So that's
Okay.
all on our website under the events tab. Yeah. And some of those camps are about 60% full already,
Okay.
which
So
it
this
happens every
recording
year.
is going to be out beginning of February. So if people listen to it at
So
this time,
yes,
but if you listen to it another year, like pay attention at the beginning of the year.
yes. And I will say, those camps, that was our first event that we offered in 2019, and they've evolved significantly. But they are really a safe place to teach children about the joy and power of volunteering. They really are. Like they really, really are. And we have an amazing program manager named Dana who has taken over planning all of the events all the activities that the kids do. They're very interactive. They're very artsy. And the biggest one they do every year, though, they do it twice, is they make 200 meals that Facets picks up and gets out into the community.
That's
And
awesome.
that's during summer camp. And that
Yeah.
kind of blows the kids away. They can't believe they've made 200 meals. I can't believe it either when we're done. But anyway, yeah. So that's
Awesome.
us.
Yeah, and there's somebody else I want to connect you with.
Okay.
Does a lot with. Do you know Elizabeth Ford, Better Life?
I don't.
Okay, that's probably a good
I
person.
don't. Yeah, I see, but that's what this is all about. This is why I still, every single day, I just came from a networking breakfast this morning and I'm meeting people. I just didn't know this community was here and I'm thrilled to be part of it. It's just such an amazing opportunity to grow as an individual. Like learning, Kids Give Back has taught me so much about myself in
Yeah.
terms of what I can learn to do, what I can do, that I'm inspiring other people. I'm like, me? Why am I inspiring people? But when I look at who I'm surrounded by, my board is so active and they're so engaged and they're so like, let's go. Like, we can do this. Like, we can
And
do
this community,
this.
and I don't know if the rest of the world's like where we live. I mean, we are very suburban, and there's so many people that want to give back. And just Reston alone, there's so many
I
nonprofits,
know. I
and
know.
everybody talks to each other, just like you just said.
Yes.
Reston
Yes.
Strong, you talked about. Is it Reston Strong?
Rustin Strong. Yeah.
Okay, and facets and all the things, and they
Yeah.
help each other out. Like this Better a Life started, she's not allowed, but she just opened a facility in Reston. And I was
Hmm.
talking to Carrie Wilson with Cornerstones about it
Yeah.
because they have a homework club for kids
Oh,
once
I
a week
love
in
that.
Reston, and they provide a
Hmm.
hot meal. So I'm like, we can rally my friends, my family, and bring a meal. And
Yes.
Carrie's like, well, we can support that, help
Yeah.
them. So
Well, even during COVID, so Facets has a hot meals program. So every single night they are delivering meals to families in need. They have two locations in Fairfax County where they bring their van full of food. And during COVID, a lot of the volunteers dropped off. I mean, it was, everybody was scared. A lot of churches would be the ones that prepared the meals. And guess what? Kids Get Back, we stepped in. We stepped in. I rallied my family. I rallied my friends in the Mantua community. I cannot tell you how many times people stepped up and said, yeah, we can help make 300 meals. And they drop
well,
them off to my house.
and
And then we
COVID
get
was
them
such
out.
a hard time to be lonely and isolated, and
And
to be able to
people,
give
right,
back
right.
is
People
such a
wanted to do
blessing.
things. So yeah, even though we were around during COVID, we volunteered more actually. We just restructured how we volunteered.
Right. That's awesome.
So anyway, yeah, so that's our
Yay. So,
story.
well, I'll share in the show notes, obviously your website again, how to get in touch.
Okay. I appreciate
Um,
that.
so how would you encourage somebody else to say, why not today, to start a nonprofit, to volunteer, to start a business, all the things?
I That's a great question. I would say find out what your passion is. Find your passion, right? If you want to start volunteering, what is that thing? Is it helping people with food? Is it loneliness in senior citizens? Is it pets? Like identify that passion and look for it. There are websites all over that have volunteer opportunities. You can look at Volunteer Fairfax, Volunteer Arlington, Volunteer Alexandria. There's places to find it. Even Volunteer Fairfax has something called RSVP, which is for people who are 50 and above. So if you want to narrow it down, you can. You can
Yeah.
find things. Don't wait. Just
Yeah. Just do
don't
it.
wait.
Why not today?
Why not today? Don't wait. Find your passion. Find a friend who's passionate about it too and do it together. Like that is the hardest part about volunteering. People are like, I don't know where to start. I don't know where to start.
Right.
If you just do a little research, you will figure it out. You will.
And you're going to meet so many amazing people that have big hearts and want to give back. And it's just, as you said, it's an amazing community. So I
It
can't wait for your
is.
TED talk about this.
Oh God, if I can get one, we'll see. I don't even know how to start, but that's another
Well,
thing
it might
that's
be a
on my
good
list.
guest speaker for our Why Not Today luncheon
Oh yeah, that'd
to
be
share
great.
about giving back in community and how you get involved.
I'm so passionate about it. I wish this was my
Okay.
full-time job, but it's
It
okay.
can be eventually.
Someday, we'll see. Yeah.
So in the one of the questions I always send my guests is, how do you know my dad? And you're probably thinking, I didn't know your dad.
Right. I did
So
not know your dad,
I
but
always try to tie back to connections and things you said. So
yeah,
first and foremost, Buffalo, he
of course.
worked as a planner in his first job, I guess second job, but out of college he was a city planner. So he worked in Buffalo and did the redevelopment of Batavia, New York, and
Oh,
Rochester.
nice.
And yeah,
Oh, nice.
yeah,
Yeah.
firm he worked for was in Buffalo.
Okay.
Exploration and your national parks. When I was 16, my parents bought an RV and we went cross country for 5 weeks.
Oh
Now,
my
I
gosh,
was
how fun.
16, so was the last place in the world I wanted to be with my family. At that
Yeah.
point, I had 4 siblings. The youngest when we left was 5 weeks old.
Oh my gosh,
That was
that's
like such a why not today
amazing.
courageous thing.
That
But
was very
literally at
courageous.
that point, my dad, he had his own business, and
Yeah,
literally we'd get up in the morning and start traveling, and we'd get the book out of all the campgrounds, and we'd pick out the campground as the kids, the one that had the pool and the best amenities, and
right.
we'd stop
That's
late
awesome.
afternoon, and my dad would get on the payphone and start doing his work. But we went to all kinds of places. Now looking
I
back,
love
I
that.
totally appreciate it. But when I was 16, I
You
didn't.
didn't. I
Yeah.
know my
All the
kids.
exploration. And it was always an adventure. And even, he worked for himself. So our vacations were often, he had a business trip and we'd get in the
Oh, and
car
you would go. Yeah,
and,
I
we
love
went
that.
not during spring break when everybody else went, but I distinctly remember we'd stop at a liquor store and because they had really good delis and we'd pick up
Oh yeah,
cheese,
that's so funny.
salami and bread and we'd
I
have a
love
picnic
it. I love
and
it.
the adventures. I remember we were in Maine for a trip and went to LL Bean at midnight. We just thought that was so cool.
There's a lot
So,
to be said about travel. It just,
yeah.
we just took our kids, my husband's from Puerto Rico. We just took them over Christmas to Puerto Rico. They hadn't been there as young adults and adults in a while ever. And so just giving them the appreciation of where he was from, where he
That's
is
awesome.
from, meeting relatives they didn't know they had, being immersed in the culture. It was such a great trip for them. Like it was adventurous. And
Yeah.
I think my husband saw it in a different light because, he's got a 17 and 20-year-old who are going, wow, this island's pretty cool. And is that your high school? And, but you can't
Yeah.
stay home. You have to go out
I
and
totally agree.
seek that adventure a little.
And sometimes again, it's not a big thing. Like we were just trying to plan a day to get together, and one of the dates you threw out, I'm like, I need my toes in the sand, so I might just run away to the beach for a
Going to the
day.
beach that day. Yeah,
Yeah, just because I can.
because you can.
And we need to do those things and take the time because, as I said, my big overlapping why not today movement is to encourage people to live their life, to be
Yes,
brave, and to pursue their dreams. So we got to live our life. We are not promised tomorrow, not to be
I
morbid, but we're
totally
not.
agree.
And,
I totally
nobody on their
agree.
deathbed said, I'm so glad I worked so hard.
I don't want to
So
have
take
any
the time.
regrets. And that's like my father died very suddenly when my son was born, right after my son was born. And I was really mad about that. Oh my God, he's not even going to see his grandchildren. Da, da. But you know what? I had no regrets. I had a great relationship with him. He gave us a beautiful life,
Yeah.
I don't want regrets with my children, my husband. I don't
No.
want to look back at my life and go, why didn't I do da 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 da? I just want to make a difference and I want to leave a legacy with this organization that I've started because I'm not going to be running it
You
forever,
are.
but I want to leave a legacy. I want to run into one of the kids that was at my camp when they were 6. And I'm going to run into them when they're 20 and they're going to be like, oh, Miss Denise, guess what I'm doing? I'm running my own nonprofit.
Mm-hmm.
Like
And
I
kids
want
are doing it now, which I love.
do it. Oh my gosh, the kids are all running their own nonprofits. It's
I know.
amazing.
It's so
So
cool. So
anyway, yeah. So
yay. Well, thank you. And
this
as
has
I
been
said,
fun.
it has the Why Not Today movement. Like we want you to be inspired. And so I do have lots of merchandise for Why Not
Yes,
Today. So if you want a
I
t-shirt or a
I
cup
do.
or a vinyl, anybody, I want to spread the word. And I really want it to
Okay.
be like life is good, that people are wearing it, encouraging other people.
All
So
right.
I just relaunched a website this week.
I
So
saw it. It's beautiful.
yay. So anybody listening,
Congratulations.
watching, check out whynottoday.movement.com.
It's
We've got
beautiful.
courses and classes and lunches and all kinds of stuff. So check it out and see what we're
Yeah.
doing. So
Congratulations, Leslie.
oh, thank you. We're doing lots of
Yeah.
cool stuff. So thank you for
Yeah,
being
you
our
are.
guest and sharing your story. And thank you everybody for joining us on this inspiring journey. Remember, every day is an opportunity to take action, chase your dreams, and make a difference. So why not today? So make sure you subscribe, share, and just keep pushing forward. Check out everything's new at whynottoday.movement.com. And until next time, stay motivated and keep making things happen. Why not today? So thanks,
Perfect.
Denise.
Thank you.